There are days when nothing around you has changed, and yet everything feels different. The same room, the same people, the same unfinished plans, the same responsibilities waiting for you. But something inside you has shifted. You wake up lighter. You notice beauty in places you ignored before. A conversation reaches you differently. An idea appears. Your body feels less heavy. And suddenly, life seems to respond. Then there are other days when the opposite happens. Nothing terrible has occurred, but everything feels wrong. A small delay feels personal. A simple comment stays in your mind for hours. You see opportunities, but they look impossible. You receive something good, but you cannot fully feel it. It is as though the world has changed its language. But perhaps the world did not change first. Perhaps you did. There is an invisible state you carry into every room. It speaks before your voice. It influences what you notice before you make a conscious decision. It shapes the meaning you give to silence, rejection, opportunity, love, money, and uncertainty. You may call it mood, energy, frequency, state of mind. The name is less important than the experience. You already know what it feels like. You have entered a room and immediately sensed tension, even though no one said anything. You have spoken to someone who smiled, but something in their presence felt closed. You have met people who make you feel calm without trying. You have also met people who make you feel as though you need to protect yourself. Something is being communicated beneath words, and you are communicating something too, not only through your body language, not only through your tone, through the state you repeatedly inhabit. Stay with me until the end, because I am going to guide you through a simple practice that can help you identify the frequency you have been unconsciously rehearsing and begin creating a new one. Not by forcing yourself to feel happy, not by pretending painful emotions do not exist, but by understanding where your attention has been living and how to bring your inner world back into the present. Because your frequency is not something mysterious floating around you. It is the emotional atmosphere you keep returning to. And whatever atmosphere becomes familiar begins influencing the life you can see. Think about yesterday, not the facts of yesterday, the feeling. What emotional state did you spend most of the day inside? Were you waiting, rushing, defending yourself, comparing, worrying, trying to prove something? Perhaps nothing dramatic happened, but beneath everything, there was a subtle tone. Maybe the tone was, something is missing. Maybe it was, I am falling behind. Maybe it was, no one sees me. Maybe it was, I need to be careful. Maybe it was, nothing ever changes. That tone becomes a lens, and a lens does not create every object in front of you, but it changes how every object appears. If you wear dark glasses, the world looks darker. You may forget you are wearing them. You may begin believing the world itself has lost its light. This is what happens when an emotional state becomes familiar. You stop experiencing it as a state. You begin experiencing it as reality. A person who has lived in fear for a long time may call fear intuition. A person who has lived in scarcity may call scarcity realism. A person who has lived in rejection may interpret distance where there is only silence. A person who has lived in chaos may feel uncomfortable when life becomes peaceful. The state becomes so familiar that anything different feels suspicious. Perhaps you have experienced this. Something good begins happening. Instead of relaxing, you become alert. Your mind says, do not get too excited. Do not trust this. Something will go wrong. You think you are protecting yourself, but your body is still living inside an old experience. The present is offering peace. Your nervous system is responding to the past. This is one of the most important things to understand about frequency. You can be physically present and emotionally somewhere else. You can be sitting in your home while internally reliving a conversation from 10 years ago. You can be walking through a safe street while imagining a future disaster. You can be speaking to a kind person while reacting to someone who once hurt you. Your body is here. Your attention is not. And wherever your attention repeatedly goes, your emotional energy follows. You may say, "That happened years ago." But when you remember it with the same fear, shame, or anger, part of you experiences it as though it is happening now. The event is finished. The internal experience continues. This does not mean you should never remember the past. Memory helps you learn. Pain deserves to be acknowledged. Some experiences need time, support, and compassion to be processed. But there is a difference between remembering the past and continuously rebuilding it inside the present. Every time you replay the same humiliation, the same rejection, or the same failure without a new perspective, you are not only observing a memory, you are rehearsing a state. The body learns through repetition. What you repeat becomes familiar. What becomes familiar begins to feel natural. And what feels natural often becomes the place you unconsciously return to. This is why some people leave a painful situation and later recreate the same emotional experience in another form. Different person, different job, different city. Same fear, same need to prove, same expectation of abandonment, same inner atmosphere. The environment changed. The frequency remained familiar. Until the inner state changes, life may keep presenting different stages for the same emotional story. You are not being punished. You are being shown what still feels normal inside you. Imagine tuning a radio. Many stations exist at the same time. Music, news, silence between signals, different voices traveling through the same space. The radio does not create every station. It receives the one it is tuned to. Your attention works in a similar way. There are always many things happening around you. Loss and opportunity, cruelty and kindness, closed doors and unexpected openings, people leaving and people arriving. But the state you carry influences what becomes most visible. When you are tuned to rejection, you notice who did not respond. You may overlook the person who consistently supports you. When you are tuned to scarcity, you notice every expense. You may overlook the skill, idea, or connection that could create something new. When you are tuned to danger, you notice every possible problem. You may overlook the signs that you are currently safe. The world contains more than one reality at the same time. Your state decides where your awareness rests. This does not mean ignoring suffering or pretending everything is beautiful. It means remembering that your attention is not neutral. What you continuously feed becomes stronger in your experience. This is why two people can live through the same moment and leave with completely different realities. One person sees a failure, the other sees information. One person sees rejection, the other sees redirection. One person sees the end, the other sees space. The facts may be similar. The internal frequency changes the meaning, and meaning changes behavior. Behavior changes direction. Direction eventually changes a life. Perhaps you have been trying to change your reality while keeping the same internal signal. You say you want peace, but every morning you immediately search for something to worry about. You say you want abundance, but every conversation about money is filled with fear. You say you want love, but your attention is constantly searching for evidence that people cannot be trusted. You say you want confidence, but you continue repeating every mistake you have ever made. The desire is moving in one direction. Your emotional rehearsal is moving in another. This creates inner contradiction. You may feel exhausted without understanding why. It is because part of you is trying to build a new life, while another part is continuously returning to the old emotional home. This does not make you weak. It makes you human. The mind prefers what it knows. Even pain can become familiar. And familiar pain may feel safer than unfamiliar freedom. You know how to survive disappointment. You know how to expect less. You know how to remain small. You know how to prepare for the worst. But peace requires a different kind of courage. It asks you to stop scanning for danger. Joy asks you to remain present long enough to feel it. Love asks you to be seen. Abundance asks you to receive without immediately fearing loss. A new frequency may feel uncomfortable before it feels natural, not because it is wrong, because it is unfamiliar. There is a simple moment that reveals this. Imagine receiving unexpected money, perhaps not a large amount, just enough to bring relief. What happens inside you? Do you feel gratitude? Possibility? Calm? Or does your mind immediately begin calculating how quickly it will disappear? The money arrived, but your frequency may still be scarcity. Imagine someone gives you a sincere compliment. Do you receive it, or do you dismiss it? Do you say, "They are only being kind"? Do you change the subject? Do you search for the hidden reason? The love arrived, but your frequency may still be unworthiness. Imagine you finally have time to rest. Do you allow yourself to enjoy it? Or do you feel guilty? Do you search for something productive to do? Do you fear that resting means falling behind? The peace arrived, but your frequency may still be urgency. This is why changing circumstances alone does not always create transformation. You can receive what you want and still be unable to experience it. The external event enters. The old state filters it. The goal is not only to attract a different life. The goal is to become emotionally available to live it. Perhaps frequency begins in smaller moments than you imagined, not in dramatic rituals, not in repeating sentences you do not believe, but in the way you receive an ordinary morning, the way you drink water, the way you walk into a room, the way you speak to yourself after making a mistake, the way you respond when nothing exciting is happening. Your frequency is being shaped in the moments no one sees. There is a story about a person who walked into a small market and bought something ordinary. Nothing luxurious, nothing impressive, only food for the day. But as they carried it home, they felt a sudden sense of gratitude. Not because the object was extraordinary, because for a moment, they were completely present. They noticed that life had provided something. They noticed the movement of their body, the light, the air, the simple fact that they could choose, carry, and receive. In that moment, the feeling was not small. The object was small. The state was expansive. This reveals something important. The emotional state you associate with a large dream can often be accessed through a small experience. You imagine that you will feel free when you have more money. But perhaps there is one moment of freedom available today. You imagine that you will feel loved when the right person arrives. But perhaps there is one act of love you can receive or offer now. You imagine that you will feel successful when the world recognizes you. But perhaps there is one promise you can keep to yourself today. The feeling does not always wait at the end of the journey. Sometimes it is the energy that helps you walk. This does not mean pretending you already possess what you do not have. It means no longer postponing every meaningful state until the future gives you permission. You can practice peace before every problem is solved. You can practice gratitude while still wanting more. You can practice self-respect before others recognize your value. You can practice abundance by noticing what is available without denying what needs to improve. A frequency is strengthened through repetition, not intensity. You do not need one perfect day. You need repeated returns. Every time your mind returns to fear and you bring it back to the present, you are changing the signal. Every time you notice a negative memory and choose not to live inside it for the next hour, you are changing the signal. Every time you receive something good without immediately searching for danger, you are changing the signal. Every time you speak to yourself with respect after a mistake, you are changing the signal. Small returns become a pattern. The pattern becomes a state. The state becomes an identity. An identity influences reality. There may be a part of you saying, "But my circumstances are real." Yes, your circumstances deserve practical attention. If you have a problem, take action. If you need help, seek it. If something is unsafe, protect yourself. Frequency is not a substitute for reality. It changes the way you meet reality. A person in panic and a person in clarity may face the same challenge, but they do not see the same options. Panic narrows perception. It makes everything feel urgent. It repeats old solutions. It reacts. Clarity creates space. It notices. It asks. It adjusts. The problem may remain, but the person is no longer imprisoned inside only one response. This is why your state matters. Not because it gives you complete control over life, because it gives you greater access to yourself. And when you have access to yourself, you make different choices. You stop sending the message written from panic. You wait until your body is calm enough to speak honestly. You stop making financial decisions from shame. You look at the numbers and create a plan. You stop treating every delay as rejection. You remain open long enough to receive more information. You stop attacking yourself for feeling afraid. You understand that fear is a signal, not a ruler. Your frequency rises not when you eliminate every difficult emotion, but when difficult emotions stop becoming your permanent home. There is no shame in sadness, no shame in anger, no shame in fear. These emotions carry information. Sadness may show you what mattered. Anger may reveal a boundary. Fear may warn you. But an emotion is meant to move. When it becomes identity, the signal becomes fixed. You begin saying, "I am anxious," instead of, "I am experiencing anxiety." "I am broken," instead of, "I am moving through pain." "I am unlucky," instead of, "This moment did not happen as I hoped." The language matters. One sentence creates identity. The other creates space. Space is where change becomes possible. Your emotional state is not the whole of who you are. It is weather. Some weather lasts longer than others. Some storms need support and shelter. But weather moves. The sky remains larger than the storm. You are larger than the state you have practiced. There may be a reason you have returned to the same frequency for years. Maybe it protected you. Expecting disappointment prevented surprise. Remaining guarded prevented vulnerability. Staying busy prevented you from feeling grief. Focusing on problems gave you a sense of control. Do not hate the old state. It tried to help you survive. Thank it. Then tell it that survival is no longer the only life available. You are allowed to experience more than protection. You are allowed to receive, to rest, to create, to trust yourself, to feel joy without immediately preparing for loss. This is where the transformation becomes real. Not when you force a higher frequency. When you create enough inner safety to stop returning automatically to the old one. Safety can begin through simple things. A slower breath, a walk without your phone, a room you keep peaceful, music that changes your body, a conversation with someone who does not require you to defend yourself, a promise you keep, food that supports you, sleep, silence. These things may seem too ordinary, but your nervous system learns through experience. Every safe moment teaches the body a new possibility. Every peaceful repetition says, this state can exist. You do not need to leap from despair into ecstasy. You need to move 1 degree, from panic to pause, from shame to understanding, from helplessness to one small action, from scarcity to recognition, from tension to breath. 1 degree repeated changes direction. Imagine a ship crossing an ocean. A small change in its direction may look insignificant at the beginning. After many miles, it arrives at a completely different destination. Your emotional returns work in the same way. You may think one calmer response does not matter. It does. One decision not to replay the memory matters. One moment of gratitude matters. One boundary matters. One act of courage matters. Not because each one instantly changes everything, because each one changes the direction you are reinforcing. This is how reality begins to respond. First, your attention changes. Then your interpretation changes. Then your actions change. Then people respond differently. You notice opportunities you previously ignored. You stop remaining in situations that confirm the old identity. You create new evidence. From the outside, it may appear that life suddenly shifted. But the shift began in the invisible moments when you change the signal. There is one mistake many people make. They try to raise their frequency while continuing to consume everything that lowers it. They begin the morning with fear. They spend hours listening to conflict. They repeatedly watch content that leaves them feeling powerless. They remain in conversations built entirely around complaint. They call it information. But the nervous system does not always know the difference between what is happening to you and what you repeatedly expose yourself to. This does not mean becoming ignorant. It means becoming intentional. Ask yourself how you feel after consuming something. More aware, more capable, more compassionate, or simply more afraid. You cannot protect your frequency by hiding from the world, but you can choose how much of your inner space you give to noise. Attention is a form of energy. Where you place it matters. Perhaps you have been feeding a reality you do not want, because it is the first thing you think about in the morning and the last thing you imagine at night. Not intentionally, through habit. You wake up and remember the problem. You sleep while rehearsing the problem. You speak about it, search for it, fear it, then wonder why it feels enormous. Anything continuously placed at the center of attention begins occupying more psychological space. The goal is not to deny the problem. Move it from the center. Let it become one part of reality, not the entire reality. A financial challenge exists, and you also have intelligence, time, ideas, relationships, and possibilities. A relationship ended, and you still have the capacity to love, learn, choose, and begin again. A plan failed, and you still possess everything the experience taught you. A difficult emotion is present, and awareness is present too. Reality is always larger than the part fear is showing you. You are now ready for the practice I promised. Take a piece of paper after this video. Give yourself a few quiet minutes. Write this sentence. The frequency I have been rehearsing most often is: do not choose the emotion you believe you should feel. Choose the state you actually return to. Urgency, rejection, scarcity, anger, fear, comparison, exhaustion, waiting. Write it honestly. Then write, "This state makes me notice." Complete the sentence. If your state is rejection, perhaps it makes you notice distance, silence, and changes in tone. If your state is scarcity, perhaps it makes you notice expense, loss, and what others have. If your state is urgency, perhaps it makes you notice everything unfinished. If your state is unworthiness, perhaps it makes you notice criticism while dismissing praise. This step reveals the lens. Now ask, what experiences have been keeping this frequency alive? A memory? A person? A daily habit? A type of content? A conversation? A story you repeat? Write what appears. Do not judge it. Awareness interrupts repetition. Now choose a new frequency, not a perfect emotion, a direction, perhaps peace, trust, openness, worthiness, possibility, presence. Choose only one, then complete this sentence. If I lived from this frequency for the next 7 days, I would... Maybe you would pause before reacting. Walk more slowly, speak more clearly, stop checking, receive compliments, create a plan, rest, apply for something, notice what is already working. Choose one behavior that represents the new frequency. Only one. Do it every day for 7 days. If the frequency is peace, take 10 minutes without noise. If it is trust, take one action without checking for immediate results. If it is abundance, write down 3 forms of support, value, or opportunity you notice that day. If it is worthiness, stop one act of self-abandonment. If it is presence, bring your full attention to one ordinary moment. Then, at the end of each day, write one piece of evidence that the new state existed. Not that your entire life changed, that the state existed. I paused before reacting. I enjoyed a quiet morning. I received help. I noticed an idea. I felt grateful for something small. I kept a promise. I responded differently. This evidence teaches the mind that another frequency is possible. At first, the old state will return. Do not call this failure. You practiced it for years. Of course it returns. The practice is not never leaving the new state. The practice is returning more quickly. You notice fear, you return. You notice scarcity, you return. You replay the past, you return. Every return is a repetition. Every repetition strengthens the new signal. Do not demand perfection. Demand direction. Your frequency is not defined by the emotion that visits you. It is shaped by the state you repeatedly choose to come home to. Maybe your reality has not been refusing you. Maybe it has been responding to the signal you were trained to repeat. A signal of waiting, protection, fear, survival. You do not need to hate that signal. It brought you here, but you are allowed to create another. A signal that says, I am present. I can see more than the problem. I am available for possibility. I can experience peace before everything is perfect. I can receive without preparing for loss. I can take action without panic. This is not magic in the childish sense. It is something deeper. When your inner world changes, you enter the same life with different eyes. Different eyes recognize different doors. Different choices create different patterns. Different patterns create a different future. The reality begins responding because you are no longer meeting it as the same person. Take a breath. Feel the room around you. Notice one sound, one color, one sensation in your body. This moment has never existed before. You may be carrying years of memory into it, but the moment itself is new. You can meet it with the old frequency, or you can begin here, not tomorrow, not when everything is solved. Here, with one breath, one thought you do not continue, one small thing you allow yourself to appreciate, one action taken from clarity, one return, and then another. If you are choosing a new frequency today, write in the comments, "I am changing the signal." Do not write it as a performance. Write it as a reminder. Your reality may not transform in one night, but the moment you change the signal, you stop feeding the same future. And slowly, quietly, life begins responding to the person you are becoming.